Today, I decided to explore more about empathy. I used the book, The Neuroscience of Empathy, Compassion, and Self-Compassion by Larry Charles Stevens and C. Chad Woodruff. What's interesting about this book is that one of the chapters explores the neurological conditions of animals and the empathy within those animals and how they can relate to us humans. In one of the experiments talked about, a rat was trained to free another rat who was trapped in a restrainer. Along with that restrainer was a different restrainer filled with chocolate chips. Almost every time, the rat would free the other rat even if they couldn't interact socially afterwards. And they would even share the chocolate chips from the other restrainer afterwards. What's even more interesting about this experiment is that if the rats grew up together and were more familiar with each other, they were more likely to show empathy towards each other and most likely did every time. This implies that animals show a level of empathy towards others in that same species that are familiar with each other, and that empathy doesn't have to be reward motivated. Another experiment was done with rhesus monkeys and electrical shocks. When a scientist offered one of the monkeys food and the monkey accepted it, the other monkey would get an electrical shock. This experiment showed that the rhesus monkeys would starve themselves in order for the other monkey to not experience pain from the electrical shocks. Also taken from this experiment was that if the monkeys were familiar with each other, they showed more empathy towards each other, just like with the rats. In line with the monkey research, neuroimaging has shown that empathy towards another's pain can activate the same brain areas as when someone experiences that pain firsthand. Some of these areas include the primary and secondary somatosensory cortices, and of course the ventroposteromedial and the ventroposterolateral nuclei of the thalamus. Of course, the animal research stated before shows that the limbic system was crucial in showing and learning empathy. Both of these experiments imply that the development of empathy and detecting said empathy was key to survival and caregiving of the species and the young ones in that species. It can also be implied that humans developed these abilities to an even further degree for these same reasons and to also fit socially to become the top of the food chain with a higher intellect. I think the book by Stevens and Woodruff is very important and interesting because it shows a connection of empathy in animals and different mammals alike, and how it connects to us humans and how we demonstrate empathy, as well as shows the different systems in the brain that show and allow empathy to happen.
I just wanna